And welcome to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And folks, we got a great show. We got a great conversation coming at you today. Later on in the show, I'm going to have Mr. Omar, who is head of the African American Construction Association that provided all the cement and helped build Barack Obama's monstrosity satanic temple. He's going to be on the show, and we're going to talk about how we can help him get his money. Also, we're going to talk about the President Trump's speech. We're going to talk about Mitch McConnell. So if you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know. You're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio. I'm your host, Pastor David. Y'all come on in. And welcome to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And first, let me give all praises to Yahuwah and Yahusha. That's God in Christ in Hebrew. To the American people and patriots across this country, that celebration of 250 years of America's life, liberty, and the pursuit, it went pretty good. Even though the Democratic Party is doing crazy stuff behind the scenes to try to make it go wrong, it still turned out right. And to the American people and patriots across this country, we have to start thinking about something now. These two parties have been battling each other for years. It has gone beyond the point of these two parties, the Democrats and Republicans. The main focus should be the American people because they work for us. We don't work for them. And what we're seeing right now with this Trump derangement syndrome is completely idiotic. Now, I was at the gym the other day and the American team lost their game, and the guys at the gym was talking about it was Trump's fault. This Trump derangement syndrome is for real. It's no joke. And to the American people, the Democratic Party has nothing else. They can't say they've done anything because they opened the borders. They let the migrants come in. They changed the laws to fit the migrants here that was released into the Black community. They've given them houses, cars, banks. All of this is taxpayers' money. So to the American people and patriots across this country, how the hell can we even vote or try to even imagine the Democratic Party getting back in office and finish destroying this country? Not only did the migrants, they start telling parents you can't make decisions on what goes on in the schools with your children. They opened up the transgender world and the homosexuality world and forced it on the American people. It was the Democratic Party who told people they used COVID and told people that if you don't take the COVID shot, you're going to lose your job. Now, I want the American people to remember all of these things that we've seen against us have happened under the Democratic leadership. Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, all of the Democrats have not become American citizens, but they become communists and saying that, let me get my team in so we can talk about this. What's up, Mr. B?
Howdy.
Hey, Randy, how's it going?
Hello.
Guys, listen. Tell me your thoughts on this whole thing with the Trump speech at the rally, man. I think that, you can put nothing past the people that are fighting in this race. The main concern should be the American people, but yet the Democrats are pulling out all this political stuff, and they're trying to make the American people hate Trump by saying everything is his fault. What are your thoughts on that, Randy?
It's par for the course at this point. And I look at it like this, the thunderstorm that came in, that was the Democrats' fault. They was trying to delay.
I know.
They was trying to delay the celebration, so therefore, that was the Democrats' fault on that. But on a serious point, President Trump's speech showed that it should have shown the American people that he is for us and not against us. And if you're mad at his speech, or you were disenfranchised, or whatever the case is about his speech, you might want to take a look in the mirror and take that globe and find another country to go to, because I ain't seeing anything wrong with it.
Mr. Binky?
I didn't listen to the speech, but I mean, it's no different than any other president. If you got a Republican president saying something, the Democrats will say something negative about that. If you got a Democrat president, the Republicans will say something negative about that. That's what they call propaganda,
Mm-hmm.
and if you fall for it, it's working then. It's just another divisional tool.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, I have never seen, and I grew up in a Democratic household when there was conservative Democrats, when Democrats only wanted to be, their values were Republican and conservative, but they just liked the Democratic movement because black people was flocking to the Democratic Party. But as time went on, we've seen this shift to the left where the Democratic Party no longer serves the American people. Out of their leadership, there was nothing done in this country but heinous crimes that was committed. Now, when I look at both parties, I say that, okay, well, the Republicans, they was known as the rich and famous party. But the Democratic Party was the party that was supposed to uplift black people. They were supposed to uplift minorities. They were creating programs to get people out of poverty. That's a crock of crap. Because what I've seen over 60 years with the Democratic Party is anti-American, anti-family, anti-children, everything against the American people, the Democratic Party has done. And take Chicago, for instance. Chicago is a Democratic state. Look at the horror that's happening every weekend. We got teen takeovers. We'll have murders on top of murders. They're not even counting when the migrants kill people. I mean, Chicago is a shithole. And I said that before. In every blue state that's ran by the Democratic Party, in the black community, there's nothing. So I can't even see how now black people are starting to wake up and see that the Democratic Party has never been good for black people, but only to use it and get what it can out of it to control the black dollars. Your thoughts on that, Randy?
It requires a awakening, a revival, if you will, in all of these communities across the country. When you look at a Democrat politician and they come to you and they say, vote for me because I would give you this, I would give you that. I would tell them, before I vote for you, show me how you're going to get me this or get me that. You've been saying it for the last 4 years, or every 4 years you come around saying, vote for me, I'm going to do this for you, and you haven't done it yet. Until black people actually reconcile that in their head, we're not gonna go anywhere with it. And I would say that it's not even relegated to just black people, to people across the country that vote Democrat. If they have not done anything for you or produced any tangibles as they promised, you gotta start looking at other parties, other politicians and whatnot, because you're digging yourself this deeper and deeper a hole, and these politicians get more and more entrenched into office. I know we're going to talk about Mitch McConnell, but he's not the only one. He's not the only one. these politicians, they get in office and they sit there. We have one here in Texas, Senator Zaffarini, been in office since 1984. I was 4 years old, ladies and gentlemen, when this senator was in office, and I'm already retired. So that should tell you something, you know. And the term limits, you know, and stuff like that. We gotta actually take responsibility for the demise that we put ourselves in at the end of the day.
Mr. Binky?
Well, I got a list here. Why you don't want to put a Democrat in office. And they were primarily for poll taxes. They wanted a literacy test in the South. They founded the KK. They were for the Jim Crow laws. They were against the civil rights. They were against the 13th, the 14th, and 15th Amendment. They were the reason why the Republican Party was created, because they were trying to, after Jefferson died, they were trying to promote slavery to the West. Now they want to call themselves a democratic socialist. So, I mean, when you, and I'm not going to give a lot of credit to the Republicans, because I think they're a bunch of cowards myself.
Absolutely.
You know, the SAVE Act. Okay, it says in there in the 14th and the 15th Amendment and 26th Amendment that this article can be enforced with appropriate legislation. Okay, if we're having problems here of voting, and you're supposed to be a citizen, as it says in the 26th Amendment, then you can appropriately enforce that. And the Republicans are not doing that. So there's many more reasons why you don't want to vote for a Democrat, because you can't trust them. Worse than you can't trust. I don't trust any politician. I'll just say it that way.
That's right. I ain't mad at you.
You know, a Democrat is anti-American. I can't say it any better. But also, on the same hand, a Republican doesn't want to follow the Constitution as it's written. You know, it's just like we went through this birthright citizenship. Here you got sitting up there, and they're redefining through their past precedent case laws on what the birthright citizenship meant in the 14th Amendment. That's BS.
And you are so correct, man. I got our guest on. Let me bring Brother Omar in. Hey, Brother Omar, how are you today, brother? Can you hear me? Omar, can you hear me? I guess it's he's getting it in. But yeah, we're gonna wait till we get in, and we're gonna make sure that we get in. And this is our guest. This is one of the heads of the African American Contractors Association. Can you hear us, Omar? I'll get him in, and so. But I want to play right away. I want to play the speech that President. No. Let's talk about Mitch McConnell first. See, it's time for term limits to come, because what did you do? Yeah, when we got all these people that's been Congress that's 80 plus years old, and all of these people who have been in here since World War II, they should have been removed out of Congress a long time ago. And I'm saying that because Mitch McConnell has lost his mind completely. He was at a conference when he froze one time. I think he saw death and couldn't say nothing. But I want to. He froze. I ain't lying. But he's so old, Randy, and he is so old. He should have given it up, because after a while, you're not being effective anymore. These old politicians that's been in office, like Maxine Waters, what is she there for? She's not making any difference in the community. She's not standing up for Black people. Maxine Waters has brought an end to the Black community in California, and look at it. You see the same type of pattern all across the country. And Mitch McConnell is no different. Let's play this clip and check it out.
Since June 14th, retiring Senator Mitch McConnell has been in the hospital, and very little information is being shared about his condition, which is prompting growing questions about whether he's still fit to do his job. With 24 members of Congress being 80 or older, there are also renewed questions about whether there should be limits on how long people can serve. Here's national correspondent Christine Frizzell.
Omar, can you hear me?
On Capitol Hill, still no sign of the senior senator from Kentucky. Mitch McConnell said to be recovering in a Washington, D.C. hospital after being admitted 3 weeks ago.
Able to respond for cardiac arrest.
This 911 dispatch call about an unconscious person at McConnell's residence first shared by journalist Desiree Townsend, raising concerns about his condition then and now. Health issues have affected the former Senate Majority Leader for years, including a concussion from a serious fall in 2023 and at least 2 episodes where he simply froze while speaking publicly.
And a string of
Senator McConnell's ability to perform his job duties have resurrected questions about age limits for those serving in Congress, as well as more transparency about members' health, since they are, after all, not just public figures, but public servants as well.
A third of our Senate is 70 or older, including several members who were born before or during World War II. And of course, because of the seniority system, the older you are, the more power you have.
New Jersey Congressman Tom Kaine was hospitalized for 3 months before he told his constituents why he wasn't showing up to work.
I was given the diagnosis of depression.
Senator Feinstein.
I would like to support a yes vote on this.
And this alarming episode showed California Senator Dianne Feinstein reading a statement when prompted to vote, having to be told what she was supposed to do.
Just say aye. Okay, just aye.
In 2024, Texas Congresswoman Kay Granger was discovered to be residing in an assisted living facility during the end of her term in Congress. Her son confirming his 81-year-old mother was
Can you hear us now?
having some dementia issues.
There should be an age cap, 75. You're done. To me, it's all part of also just cleaning it up and bringing some energy and new blood to the effort.
As far as Mitch McConnell, his former advisor posted online he spoke to him for nearly 20 minutes about Iran, Ukraine, and the unfolding situation in Maine, and that he is still recovering in the hospital. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Randy, your thoughts on Mitch? Now, now see how he froze like that? He's so old, he should have been out of the Congress a long time ago, man, because he's ineffective, nor is he able to make, sound decisions anymore. What's your thoughts on that?
When it comes to term limits, I'm in full support of it, but it's up to the American people to enforce term limits. And what I mean by that is you see that you see a person on the ballot and they're in their 70s. It's like, hey, you kid, come here. You finna be on the ballot, and you gotta go from there. And because Congress is not gonna pass the term limits, and that's why you got organizations like Convention of States that are pushing for term limits, for a constitutional amendment derived through the states to push for term limits. And once you have that, done through the states versus the Congress, then we'll start seeing a dynamic change in the makeup of our Congress.
I can hear you now.
So,
Omar, can you hear us?
I can't hear none of you guys. Nope.
But I can hear you. You're coming through the system.
No, that's through your phone.
Okay, let me see if that's it. Can you hear me now?
That's through your phone, bro.
I can say something again now.
Nope.
I can hear you. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, we should be able to everything.
No, my telephone is off now. We can hear you through the system. Omar, can you hear us now? Unmute your phone.
Oh, his mic is muted.
Yeah, that's what I said. His mic is muted. Folks, bear with us. That's our guest today. Omar, he's the head of the African American Contractors Association. We're going to work to get him in here. But in the meantime, Mitch McConnell has gotten so old now, man. It's all the old politicians that are in office. They should have been already moved out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There should be no more. Your thoughts on that, Bink?
Well, excuse me. They gave limits to being a president. So I don't see nothing wrong with having limits on Congress at all. And but like Randy said, it's up to the people. I agree 100% on that. You know how they give kids a test, what do they call them, SAT tests?
Mm-hmm.
I think we ought to do a CAT test, a constitutional aptitude test for them.
Yeah.
And again, I always harp on this. I sound like a broken record, but if we don't have people in office that understand what their job is, why have a constitution?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we see. I mean, most of them, 84 years old, and he stands there. We had a president that stood there and,
but guys, go ahead, Big.
I mean, Biden is another perfect example of why.
Yes.
So if they come up with term limits, but we don't want to do it with an Article 5 convention. No, absolutely not. They've got to put that in and let the states approve that for an age limit amendment. Don't touch an Article 5 convention, please.
But guys,
that's the same process.
Yeah. But the thing for me, man, is that as an American citizen, I sit back and I watch, and I pay attention to what's going on. And what I see is that it's just like the Democratic Party is doing everything against the American people. We're trying to get the migrants out, the illegals out of our country. But the Democratic Party that brought them in is fighting against the American people to keep using taxpayer dollars. They're not holding them accountable for the actions they're taking. They're basically doing nothing but letting them run ramshod in our country, bringing drugs, child trafficking, gang problems, all of that. And you would think that both of these parties will be working together to get these people out of our country, but the Democratic Party is against what the Republicans are doing, and the American people are suffering behind it. Just the other day, there was a young man that was killed by an illegal, a person from Haiti. Let's play this clip and we'll talk about it.
A Pennsylvania state trooper should not have been in this country. The feds say a Haitian national living in Massachusetts veered his semi off Interstate 81 last week and hit Trooper Michael Pahira Jr. DHS says that driver lost his parole status last year and was ordered to leave the U.S. CB Cotton has more on this tragic story. CB.
Hey, John. So investigators say this past Wednesday, Michael Bond, an illegal immigrant from Haiti, was driving that tractor trailer, which veered off onto the shoulder of Interstate 81 in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, crashing into another semi and fatally striking State Trooper Mike Pahira, who was conducting another commercial vehicle inspection. Bond now faces a slew of charges for this chain reaction crash, including homicide by vehicle. DHS tells Fox Bond entered the U.S. in July 2024 under the Biden administration's humanitarian parole program, later applying for temporary protected status, but his application was denied. Federal sources tell Fox the Trump administration then terminated his legal status in June 2025 and ordered him to leave the country, but he didn't. Now ICE has lodged a detainer for Bond. On Wednesday, Governor Josh Shapiro remembering Trooper Pahira as a dedicated public servant who loved documentaries, modifying cars, and cooking. The governor said the trooper had just moved back in with his parents to help care for his mom undergoing cancer treatment.
As I said, his mom is battling cancer, and Mike, just in the last few days, helped her shave her head as she is going through her treatments. He was a loving son, and he was kind and gentle.
So Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy
Your thoughts, Randy. Omar, can you hear us out there?
Yes, I can.
Great, great. We
Right.
got you. Your thoughts on that, Randy, and Omar, you saw that clip about we've been talking about the difference in the parties, and I've been a Democrat for a long time when I was coming up, but they've never done anything for us but use us. Your thoughts on that trooper out there, Mr. Binky?
Well, once again, government failed doing their job. I mean, 1986, the Immigration Nationality Act set rules, laws, gave the ultimatum. They gave 3 million people back then amnesty and said after that, enforce the laws. Well, they haven't been enforced. And all you listen now is the Democratic Party is wanting to talk about comprehensive reform, immigration reform. No, you enforce the laws that were already created and you'll end the problem. That most of the problem. I'm sorry, there's still going to be people trying to sneak in and stuff. But if you don't enforce something that already exists, you're going to have what's happening now.
Randy?
This is a tragic situation that could have been easily avoided, and it's a shame that that this country is giving out driver licenses to illegal immigrants to do commercial trucking. First off, they shouldn't even be hired because they're illegal immigrants. So that's number one. That's number one. Number two. Okay, if you have a temporary work permit type of status, fine, but you're still not going to be driving commercial trucks because we're not doing that. And so it's crazy to me, and it could have been easily avoided. And I would say for the leadership of that state, that department that was in charge of that, they should be held accountable as well. They are just as culpable for this man's death. And that's the problem. That's the problem with our justice system now is that we don't hold them accountable, and we don't hold these elected officials to the same metrics of the law that they hold us to. And so when we start doing that, you'll see a 9-day change.
Yep.
Okay, listen, I got our guest in, Omar, the head of the African American Contractors Association. And before we bring him in, I want to play a clip of Barack Obama opening up his new library at the expense of Black contractors.
Hello, Chicago. Sweet home, Chicago. Please have a seat. Thank you, Punihi, for that outstanding introduction. President and Mrs. Bush, President and Secretary Clinton, thank you for being with us today and for your devotion to our country. And President and Dr. Biden, thank you for your steadfast partnership for 8 years. Joe, we started as running mates and ended as family. And we would not be here without you. And we are grateful. To our amazing foundation staff and our amazing board, to Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson, thank you for making this center possible. To congressional leaders and foreign dignitaries who've made the trip, I cherish our partnership together and all we got accomplished together. Thank you. To Michelle.
To Michael.
She did me wrong. She wouldn't let me see her speech. She knew she was going to mess me up, and she did it anyway. But she's always made me better.
Okay, guys, I can't stomach no more of it. He's the biggest grifter and bullshitter. He tricked the American people. He never did nothing for the Black community. The Jackson Park area, he moved Black people out of their homes to open up this thing. It was a deception of a museum. Basically, it's nothing but a satanic temple. He's doing underhanded things like having a data center in there and it needs to be close to water. Barack Obama was the biggest bullshitter that ever came to Chicago, and that's not even his real name. His real name is Barry Soweto. And so when he first got this thing to going, he did not even want black contractors to be able to help him build it. It was a big issue about black contractors, which we have a lot of great black contracting companies in Chicago. But Barack Obama didn't even want the black contractors to have a piece of the action. Because when the procurement came down at the time, there was a lawyer friend of mine named Frank Avila who were fighting for the people over in Jackson Park because they did not want to give their homes up. So Barack Obama want to credit J.B. Pritzker. He want to credit Brandon Johnson. And they did nothing but help him steal money to say that they were building this center that's going to benefit Chicago. It doesn't benefit Chicago in any form of fashion. As a matter of fact, when you look at the crowd, those were people that was imported in. They were not the taxpayers of Chicago who's footing the bill for this satanic temple that he's already built. And so it's sad that when he finally did use black contractors and they helped him build this monstrosity, he hasn't even paid the contractors, nor has he enforced his power to make sure these black contractors should be paid for the work that they did. Excuse me. And in the studio, I have a friend of mine. Omar, how you doing, brother?
I've been doing pretty good, David. You been all right?
Man, I'm doing good, man. You know, we got this talk show, Let the Truth Be Told, man. This is your first time on our show. But
Thank you for having us.
Man, we're covering ground and we be honest with the people and tell them the truth. Now, Omar, I've known you for years. You've been in the construction business. You've been beneficial in helping black contractors get contracts from the city and the state and all of that. You've been a trooper for the black contractors. Now, I know Obama, you would think that he would want black contractors to be a prime contractor in this deal. He didn't do that. Talk a little bit about what's going on, Omar, with this building, this satanic temple that he's built, and how it has affected the black contractors you represent.
You know, little do you know that, you know, when they started this ordeal and they did the groundbreaking, they didn't even allow the Lakeside Alliance people to be there to break ground on this site. They never had the opportunity to turn over the dirt. They asked some of our leaders to don't even show up at the groundbreaking. Yeah, they did do that. We got involved because our contractors came to me early on. Everybody was happy as hell about being a part of this Obama project, right? They were so happy. I told those guys sitting in this very room I'm in today, interviewing with you guys, is that I told them, I said, you may accept this red or blue pill that you're getting ready to swallow, but I tell you one thing, I told them that, seriously. I said, you all need to put up a firewall against this whole thing about you cannot talk about this problem if it occurred with your company. And they went on, we can't go into detail. Please don't tell nobody about it. I said, okay. But I said, nevertheless, I'm not fighting to be on the project. I've known Turner for a long time. I've seen Turner build the United Terminal in Chicago. I saw them building in Peoria, the Peoria Convention Center that we had a major fight with them about. It was on the front page of Peoria Star newspaper, a Sunday newspaper that came out. And so I know the devils they dance with, right? And so after that, they created this shell company, which has Brown and Moment Inc., Ujama Construction Inc., Powers and Sons Inc., Safeway Construction Inc. It's supposed to be a collaboration of all these presidents of these companies, these presidents with no power to turn over anything. It's just a perception of a major company that's on the stock exchange, Turner Construction, to use these people to do what they did. They used those men and women in this process where that if any suits go down, they're going to take the hit and Turner going to get away like a smooth criminal.
So in other words, see, and this is what make me feel somewhat apprehensive about it, because I'm a contracting officer. I know procurement. That's what I tired from the Army with. The fact of the matter is this: they created this shell company. So this company that they created, they were able to funnel the money through them. And how did it get to the subcontractors? You guys were subs, but you signed the disclosure. I think that would have been a problem for me as a company, because why would you have me to sign a disclosure that I can't talk about an issue that should be talked about in case you don't pay me? See, that was a red flag for me right there. What are your thoughts on that, Omar?
Well, I think the Jim Jones monkey had more sense than they do. He has more sense not to drink the Kool-Aid. And I'm serious about that. I'm serious about it because the fact of the matter, how are you going to sign an agreement that, is carbon monoxide in a room and telling you don't breathe? Life is at stake. These guys are dying from their mortgages, their family lives are ruined, their business opportunities now are ruined because white GCs, white developers do not want to be bothered with them because of the fact they know there's a lawsuit lurking, if it ain't already going on, that they do not want to hire them on a new project. Because look at it this way, David. If they hire them on a new project, now they getting some legal briefs sent over to their firm to answer some questions they have nothing to do with. Now they got to go hire a $200 to $400 attorney to defend something that they have nothing to do with. So what do they do in return? They don't bother with that company because they don't want the cost of dealing with any legal ratifications behind it because they have nothing to do with it. And that's wrong for these people to do this. And everybody trying to give Barack cover. The fact of the matter is that the owner takes full responsibility.
Yes, exactly.
Right? If you can't be the president of this, be a leader to the fact of black contractors to get them their money. That's what we're on. They need to get paid for that they can become a whole person and they can move on from this ordeal.
But you know what, man? And when Barry Soweto, that's Barack Obama, when he first got to Chicago, and he kept getting his ass kicked by trying to get into a political office, which they ended up putting him into an office. He didn't get elected by the people. I was trying to tell people then, this guy does not care about the black community. He came with all these great speeches on what he was going to do. And to black people watching this show, Barack Obama has done nothing for the city of Chicago. Zero. And he opened up talking about Sweet Home Chicago. That's a bunch of bullshit. He never did nothing for black people on the south side or the west side. He never did nothing as far as helping create economics. He never brought anything. He never made any rights for the black community. He never helped in crime. He never did nothing for black people but use them. And for me, when I thought about it, man, his own mission was to destroy the black community. And now you're the owner of this. The owner's supposed to step up and make the wrongs right. But what is Barack Obama? It goes like this. When you get a contract like that, the prime contractor is responsible for taking care of all the subs. And so if there's a problem, if the subs have a problem and the prime contractor cannot solve it, it's the owner's responsibility to step in and make sure that this problem is solved and everybody is paid. What has Barack Obama said about this, Omar?
Zero, my friend, zero. All they're doing is kicking the can down the road. Now, just of yesterday, there's more lawsuits, there's more liens on this particular project. You got companies now that their bond is messed up. If they go to the next job with the unions acting for a cash bond,
wow,
they need to use their regular bonding insurance company. Put up a cash bond. You got the union putting liens up. You got other companies putting liens out there. And we didn't open up this thing to the point that everybody you could think of that's owed money, they're starting to place their lien, and all they're going to get is a penny on the dollar, because the fact of the matter is that they know they cannot outlast Turner
Yes.
Construction or the Obama Foundation, because they're not going to sell that building. And so they may not never get their money.
Well, your thoughts on it, Randy?
Omar, how you doing, sir? And thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. My question to you is for the subcontractors that's in this unfortunate dilemma, can they go in and remove or undo the work that they did, and just go from there? Be like, hey, we wasn't paid, so we come to take our stuff back. It is what
You're
it is.
right. We don't want to do no O.J. Simpson stuff. We want to make they say, hey, guy, you stole my stuff. Let me get my stuff back, you little thief. Now I told a GC that one day. I'm gonna tell you a story. I told a GC one day. I don't know if you remember. It was a GC, David, and we was coming at Chef Luciano on 22nd Street off of Wabash, right? And he owed one of the steel guys some money, like 50 grand. And so Willie told me, said, Omar, I'd do anything to help get my money from this guy. So I saw the guy at Chef Luciano for lunch, and I walked behind him. I said, Mr. H. He said, yeah. Omar, how you doing? I said, man, you was on my mind today. I said, Brother Willie told me you owe him some money for that building, that steel he put up there. Omar, it was offline. It was a little bit inches off, what have you. I said, Mr. H, I said, are you still using that steel? He said, yeah. And you should give him his money and y'all deal with the difference. But don't get ripped up like that because an error was made. And I'm saying the same thing you said, my brother Randy and others, that if an error was made, deal with that, but pay them their money. At the end of the day, because you still got their product and you got their service that they rendered to get that built and constructed. And that's unfair.
Mr. Binky?
Yeah, now I'm not a businessman. I've always worked for somebody and stuff, but anything that I say, please correct me, because that's how I learn. But the way I'm hearing it, if 40 years ago, I don't think this would have transpired the way it is right now with Mr. Omar here. First of all, this building was a government project. Was it funded by government? And if it was, there's your problem. The other problem that I see is you've got, as you mentioned, all these attorneys that are going to have to be involved. They're the ones that are going to make all the money. And like Mr. Omar said, the subcontractors, the people that actually did the work and did the investment, are going to get penny on a dollar. So here's another example, and I'm broken recording it again. We've got government involved with so much stuff. That's the problem that's been created. We don't have a free market no more. We don't have an honest system. It's benefiting government and anybody that's associated with government, and we are kicked to the side and kicked down. And as Mr. Omar was talking about, these families are being destroyed because they're not getting their just compensation.
That's correct.
Well, you know what, guys, to me, and I wanted Omar to come on because I want the Black community, not just here in Chicago, but across the country. Black people have been holding Barack Obama up high as if he was this great man. And he's no more than a damn grifter. He's a good con man. He made good speeches. How could you say, and he tricked the federal government because the land that they got it for $1. They displaced people out of their homes. They gave him that area for $1 damn. And the federal government gives the presidents money to build museums. Well, this is not a museum. This is way past the museum thing because it took almost 10 years to get done, over $1 billion. And most of that money was siphoned off and put into these politicians' pockets. Barack Obama's a crook. J.B. Pritzker's a crook. The Chicago City Council are crooks. Brandon Johnson's are crooks. And most of all of these are black people. And that's what I'm trying to get the American people, especially black Americans, to see that it's the sad ass leadership. It's the sad leadership in this country, especially the black leadership, is doing nothing for the black community but using it. Barack Obama was the biggest user. He ripped us off. And I'm appalled of what he has done by tricking the American people. Oh, by the way, Michelle Obama is a man, okay? And how he's deceived this country and done these things, and yet he's still acting like he's the best thing since sliced bread. And I just hate the fact that he owed these people money. Oh my, what's the next steps? Do we need to get together? Do we need to boycott? Do we need to start making noise? Do we need to put signs out there and say, pay these black contractors? What we need to do, brother?
We need all of that. We're in the process of writing letters to the editorial boards to ask them, why is it that they're not putting enough emphasis on these individuals getting their money and getting their fair share of the work that they put in, pay them for the work that they did. We're getting ready to write to the New York Times, the New Street Journal, and all of that and more.
Okay.
And so we're really serious about fighting back. I'm looking into billboards. We got electronic trucks look like they're going to be rolling around soon. So we're serious about them giving these people their relief, and also bring them in to talk to them, because these people are hurting, man. And I'm talking to several of them every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I get tired of talking to them about this because of the fact that they should not have signed that disclosure agreement, and put pressure on the Obama Foundation and Turner to tell them to relieve that. Maybe they will talk about it. The media say, Omar, who are these companies? Hell, you can look them up. Some of them already filed bankrupt.
Well, and you know what too, the sad thing of it is, because I'm gonna get you some other shows that I know, like Steve Bannon and some of the other shows, Gruber and all the rest of them, because the American people need to see this, especially white America.
Right. They definitely need to see it, because let me tell you one, it's sad that not even our black elected officials are speaking up for these companies.
Exactly.
And they're going into a silent mode while these people die. And that's wrong to do that. I don't have a dog in it other than my membership is involved. But the fact of the matter is that these people have supported some of these elected officials in this town.
Exactly.
They have a blind eye. All of a sudden, they're too busy to address it. You got organizations too busy to address the fact that these young men and women are hurting.
Why have you filed anything with the Attorney General's office? Have they filed anything against this company as well as Barack Obama? Because the Attorney General's office is supposed to handle these type of frauds. What's his name? Kwame. What's the brother that's the Attorney General office that kids bootlick? He's a bootlicker for Pritzker and everybody else. He should have already filed charges against the Obama administration and the foundation itself to recoup the money for those guys. Have they filed?
These guys are scared to do this stuff. This is what I'm saying. So you have to be courageous enough to speak truth to power, even if it's about your friend or your next door neighbor.
And so all of the politicians, and this is why I say to the black communities across America, we have to get these bad politicians out of office. They got to go, because they're not speaking up for the black community in Chicago, no kind of way. When the migrants came and they invaded us, you heard not one black politician say anything. And then when one of them said something, they got paid off, and you don't hear nothing else from them. Randy?
It's crazy to me to hear this, because at the end of the day, the one thing, and to Omar's point, you're right. It's you got to be courageous to do it. You got to be willing to step up. And I would say, you know what? Okay, let's call the bluff here. Let's break the NDA and start going public with it all. because now they're you're already in a hole. You're already bankrupt. So like, what else is there to lose?
That's right. That's what I told one of the guys at the show.
Yeah.
I said, hell, they already underwater, so they don't have too much to lose anyway.
Exactly, yeah. And so, but now that is out there in the space of public opinion, that hey, this is going on because they broke the NDA and they told us what's going on. So now we got to hold these people accountable, and now they're going to back off from doing anything about the NDA because it's like, well, we're already caught now, so we have to now not only pay these people, but now we got to make things right with the public, so we'll be able to have business in the future. And so that'd be my you should say my advice to those folks that's going through this right now. It is utterly crazy, but the NDA is in a sense already broken because we already know about it. We already know what's going on. So they can just look it up and say, yeah,
trying to put the dots together, right? They just trying to put the dots together, figure out which ones are out there that, it's over 8 of African American or more. It's 2 to 3 Caucasian companies out there. Only one of them had enough sense to speak on it because of the fact of the matter is that they bought the company from another firm, and so they wasn't actually adhered to the NBA.
Gotcha.
Yep. So in other words, you said a shell company was created, so these other white firms was able to get part of that money too, even after they weren't even supposed to. These are some minority set asides. That's what it should have been. It should have been a minority set aside, and I'm not talking about the white women who claim to be minorities. I'm not talking about all. These should have been set asides for black contractors so that they can feed their families. They can say they did something of historical project. And now we just saw Barack Obama on the stage hollering about this and that, and know that these black folks, companies are dying, and he is not moving one finger. You haven't heard one word from him, huh, Omar?
I haven't heard anything. I know Michelle from when she first got hired at the University of Chicago. I know Barack had been at several awards events. So, it's not like we don't know them. But what I'm concerned with, why he have not pushed hard enough for these men and women to get paid. He had every celebrity he can pick on his list to be at his event. He could ask them for $10 million a piece and pay them. We talking about it's probably adding up more than $100 million right now, my friend.
Wow. $100 million.
Yeah, because Trice Construction is a female-owned company that's black, that's been out here 3rd generation. You got Bob McGee that's been out here for 30 or 40 years, and you got him in the Concrete Collective with W.O. Deal. That's a $40 million lawsuit.
Wow.
That's $40 million there. If they settle at 30, that's 30 million. But my point is that you got 10 other companies, smaller companies, that's owed $4, $5, $10 million.
Wow. And Barack's not moving a finger. He's not saying nothing. He's just letting it roll on and say, let them handle that. So at the end of the day, these people are going to lose their business because you can't, like you said, you can't do another project. But now you got to have cash bonds. People are walking away from you because you got this lawsuit going on. Then you got Barack Obama with his name. People are saying you're coming against him. So he basically destroying the black contractors in the state of Illinois. Would you say so?
You're absolutely right, and you're hitting the nail around the head. This is why I'm in the fight, because you destroyed the black contractor. You're trying to destroy our organization and the other advocacy group that fight for fairness in the industry of construction. That's the problem I have with it, and I'm not going to go out like that.
I understand, man. And when I saw that, that's why I got in with you and got involved with you. We need to have some protest at that building. We need to be able to show America that Barack Obama is no more than a grifter and a liar, and he has never done or helped the black community in any kind of way. Mr. Binky, you want to talk about that?
Well, it's sad that Omar's got to get on here and expose all this. It shouldn't even started to happen.
That's correct.
I think that tells you the integrity of our system today. And I'm doing the broken record stuff, but we don't have anything getting better for the little guy. It's the big guys in government that's making everything for themselves. I don't care if it's from the NAACP down to these construction outfits. It's the big guy and it's government that are, look at the stock markets and stuff, the insider trading and stuff. It's still going on. It's been going on for decades, and the little guy like Omar is just keeping getting trampled on. We're paying almost 70% of our incomes toward taxes in local, state, federal. We've got nothing. And then now this man and other people like him come in and they put their effort out to build something to be paid, and they're not getting paid. So we've got a system not only exposing these politicians, we got to quit idolizing them. Why are we spending millions of dollars to building places to idolize them? That's our money. And,
You know what else is sad too? Omar's organization has been in Chicago a long time fighting for black contractors. See, it's organizations like the Illinois Tollway, because I got into a fight with Illinois Tollway, and it was 60 years the Illinois Tollway had never had a prime black contractor. Never. And when we got involved with this king, I was the president of the NAACP, and I started pulling strings on it saying, why not? Because all of these contracts are given to prime contractors like Walsh, and then Walsh gives them to all of his friends. And so the black community, when you're talking about construction in the black community in Inglewood, you see all white folks working or all Mexicans working, but you don't see no black construction workers. And that's the reason why, because these black contractors are not being given the opportunity to win these major bids, which would turn into economic development and economics for the black community when we can hire and train laborers, so take some of the young men off the streets, off the street corners, and give them job as laborers and teach them how to use construction equipment. I mean, this thing, we've been fighting with the state of Illinois, the tollways, trying to get contracts, and the city of Chicago is same. It's a damn shame that I can go in Inglewood and I see construction work going and I don't see no black contractors. Why aren't they giving our contractors and using our taxpayer dollars to increase the wealth with our black contractors so that they can hire black men that can be stable jobs for them in the community? Your thoughts on that, Omar?
I 100% agree with you, David, because I'm always articulating the fact that if you're going to have white contractors in our community, you should have enough insult level, enough sense to demand that they at least train some of these young men that sits in our community and not just go into the ghetto and pull all the gold out and leave us with nothing but a beautiful physical street. That doesn't make sense, and that's not how civilization is done in America.
It is just like this, and I've been saying this for a long time. I'm gonna give you an example. It's just like the Asians who open up the nail shops and they talk about all the things that they do for black people, but yet the only thing you're doing for black people is taking the dollars that we give you and you take them out the black community, and then you have the nerve to insult us. So there's been a boycott for Asian businesses across the country, okay? And their business.
The problem with us as African Americans, I'm going to tell you that we don't have an insult level.
You're right.
We don't have an insult level. We've been numbified. They didn't put the other people on drugs, but they have numbified the ones that least should know and don't say anything. We don't have the insult level. And I'm going to tell you, as me aging up, my insult level is so sensitive, I'm like a rocket.
I'm at zero tolerance. I'm at my age. I'm at zero tolerance because here it is. Here we are in America, and black people have been over here for the whole 250 years, and we don't own nothing. Our communities are war zones. Our schools, our children aren't learning, and they can't read or write. The black family structure when we was coming along was 80 to 85%. Now it's down to less than 9%. We ain't got fathers in the homes because the 94 crime bill put a bunch of brothers in prison. Why only in the black community is this happening? And these are the truths that black people need to really understand. Your thoughts on it, Randy?
To that point, the problem is that we're overemphasizing how much we care. And I know it sounds crazy, but we're overemphasizing how much we care, so it makes it look like we're crying about it. When we start actually taking action and saying, okay, this is what you're not gonna do, versus, oh, this is what they're doing to us. This is what you're not gonna do, and we're not gonna be your emotional support animal to your cause or to your BS, or cower down and say, oh, well, okay, we'll wait, for our turn or whatever else. That's the problem that we have within the black community, is that we're always put on the back burner because we allow it to be. We're allowed to be put on the back burner. And once we start taking action and saying we're not going to stand for that, then the problem is going to still persist. And to the other point about the contracting disparity within the black community, we allow that as well. We don't sit there and say, we don't advocate for ourselves and say, hey, look, I'm just as good as this company or just as good as this contractor. Let me step in and get a piece of this pie. We don't do that enough. We try to rely on these different programs, these social programs, which is now being converted to being DEI programs. And now when we do get these jobs or get these contracts, we're looked at as DEI hires versus being looked at for our merit and for our work. And so we got to start reshaping and rethinking how we approach these situations and saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, this contract is out there. I'm bidding, I'm competing for this contract, or I'm competing for this job or whatnot. But I'm coming in not because I'm black, but because I am qualified. Right. And that's how we have to start approaching these things, because otherwise we just look like we're just sitting around crying about the stuff.
You're absolutely
Bink, you want to respond to that?
Well, looking back, which I do quite a bit of, I look back in history, and pictures will tell you a lot of stuff. Back before the Industrial Revolution, basically in the 30s, 20s, and 30s and stuff, whites and blacks lived pretty much the same. We didn't have. I mean, there were still outhouses. You look at the pictures of how they lived, barefoot. The kids are working on the farms, this time of stuff. And in mid-1960s, the black community had a pretty good thing going for themselves. And then after the mid-60s, everything went to hell. And I think today I don't say it's not more prevalent in the black community, but today's people, these kids today, and society itself, it's like, if I've got to work, it's a bad thing. There's no responsibility there no more. There's a program that's going to take care of, it. I don't know. I think society itself and the home. I mean, we've got to have two parents in the home, and right. Whether the father works or the mother works and one or the other doesn't, it don't matter. It's we've got to change our way of thinking, our responsibility, putting in to get something out instead of just sit back saying we deserve what we don't work for. I don't know. It's just crazy.
I got a question I want to ask you, Omar. Now, seeing that out of all these years, we are Chicagoans, right? Randy is a Chicago. We're Chicagoans. And when we was coming up, the black community was thriving because there was black businesses, construction companies, banks, stores. I mean, you name it, black people ran it. Now that you see our community in this condition, and I want to ask you this. And all black people, every chance in the city of Chicago, there hasn't been a Republican mayor in over 100 years. Now that you see the black community in these shambles, how can you continue to vote for the Democratic Party when they have never fulfilled anything for black people, and yet they've always cried foul and racism to cover themselves? What are your thoughts on that now, Omar?
my real thoughts that they the bigger public aid recipients I ever seen in my life. Okay.
Yes.
They are public aid recipients because of the fact of the matter is that they're getting public funds and they do nothing for their communities. And you just crunch the numbers of our elected officials throughout, and you'll find that in each ward may be over 20 to 30 to 40,000 registered voters. And guess how many they get out to vote? Less than 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 30,000 people saying they really don't like how you're governing their area, but they just don't, they got apathy in them. They just don't come out to vote. And that's sad. That's bad. And so we do need to look at a much more liberal understanding of how we get the vote out and how we put our representatives to serve us. And the other side of it, Brother Laurie, that sometimes you only get what you ask for. And if you don't do nothing, you get nothing.
Yep.
And that's back to my brother Steve saying that it takes two to be in a home to make that foundation work. A mother and a father. A community of people chiming in on what they want to see in their community. I have sat around from living in Inglewood, moving to Hyde Park, living in South Shore. I have seen people from the streets go to the suites. I have seen people living in a community that understand working together in a community builds a community. But when we go in our community, we see guns, drugs, violence, and corruption. And that's not what we should see. And that should not be the typical in our community.
But you know what? It's just, you said something earlier that was powerful. You know, look at all these black politicians that we have. The mayor, the alderman, the state reps, all of these people should be coming together saying, this is not right. These contracts need to be paid. You know, we're not going to participate into this foolishness unless they get paid. But you see, the black leadership is part of the problem because they're in cahoots with Barack Obama because he's paying everybody off. See, this is nothing but this whole building is nothing but a slush fund for the Democratic Party because everybody that was involved with it got paid some kind of way except for the contractors who build it. And that was, you guys are what's left of the real basics of construction in the city of Chicago for the black community. And yet here we are at this place that you guys are about to lose your business because another black man, Barack Obama, won't step up and do the right thing for these black contractors.
And all they got to do is step up and make sure that those people get paid. All right. And this could be in their rearview mirror. But for some strange reason, they're using these people as a sacrificial lamb and sent them out to slaughter and to kill the industry and taking out a whole quarter of our people. Now, who they trying to replace them with is questioned. They'll soon see. But the fact of the matter is that they're getting ready to wipe out about 10 to 12 good established black companies, even the ones that's supposed to be their blockers. They may end up wiping them out. But because of the fact they set up a separate corporation, they'll be saved from that.
So basically what they're doing, I want you to respond to this, Randy. So basically what they're doing from a procurement standpoint, they're going to say now when contracts come out, there is no valid black contractors. And so now we don't have to do any set aside because there is no black contractors and everything can go out to bid for white contractors. Your thoughts, Randy?
I wouldn't even say it's going to go out to white contractors. You got we all seem to forget that there is a migration replacement theory going on right now.
Yes, sir.
So these Hispanic companies that's coming in there and illegal immigrants from wherever, they're coming in and they're going to be the ones that's getting
money that's behind them.
Exactly. And so this is by design, ladies and gentlemen. This is not an accident or a one-offer type of situation. This is by design. And Barack Obama was that sword and shield, that shiny armor, that came in to save the day for the powers to be, whoever that may be, to say, hey, you're going to go in here and decimate the black community once again, particularly these contractors, because we don't want them and to have a play in what we're trying to do. And that is reshape and reface Chicago. And that's going to be done through the migrants that are up there right now. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality. And I wish people would wake up and see that, see for what it is.
Well,
Because they're already doing it. They already did it with the raising of the taxes and getting people out of their homes.
Yeah,
they already
gave
did it
more
with the demolishing their
migrants.
neighborhoods.
Excuse me, they didn't give more migrants opportunities and money and resources than they have given African Americans since they've been here.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. I go to the south side, I hear. I go to the west side, I hear. I go to the north side, I hear. Go see it right there on the east side. They have given them more opportunities than I ever saw in my entire life.
When we did a show and we looked at the whole thing, you know, I'm from Inglewood, 5618 Copper to 16 Ward. Black people lost their homes because of back taxes. They lost cars because of tickets. How the hell do you give people who are not even citizens that are here illegally, you giving them people houses and they're squatting on the houses? And later on, when you do repairs, Brandon Johnson give you the title to the house. I mean, you're emptying out the pound, giving away black folks' cars who've been impounded to illegals. You're using the SBA and you're allowing your illegals to get taxpayer dollars to open businesses within 2 to 3 months after they come here. So I mean, everything that they have done, this replacement migration, because black people aren't fighting back. Everything that they have done have been against the black community. And Omar, I want your last thoughts on this. We got to get out of here. Tell me your last thoughts about that.
Well, I think it's a shame that that's happening. Like you said, Brother Laurie, it is happening in our community. I think when he was making that move, he did not have us in mind at all, because we got African-American fencing company. We got African-American porta toilet. We got African-American caterers could have been bought into this deal. We could have been fixing up these buildings versus putting them immigrants in front of the police station and other places throughout our community. And it was a shame that they did this to us. And trust me, African Americans have not forgotten that. They go in line at Burlington, they go in Sam's Club, they have a voucher to get food where people are stealing and begging for pennies on the streets of Chicago, African American. And that's a shame.
It really is.
Come up with 10 different ways he could have helped fed some of the African American businesses in the community with that move. But they totally X'd them out, like my brother Randy said. They totally X'd them out. They didn't have us in mind of that move.
And that was the reason why I said, and people want to say that it's the company that's supposed to be liable. It is not. It is the company supposed to be liable, but as the owner, Barack Obama, this is his responsibility. It's his responsibility to ensure that these black contractors get paid. It's Barack Obama's fault that they have not got paid, and we need to hold him accountable, and we need to boycott his place. We need to boycott his place. And Omar, I can help you do that. We can take this whole to a whole nother level. I want to be able to get you on
whatever we got to do to get these people paid, I'm on board with it, as long as it makes sense, Dave, because I'm going to see these people paid.
Absolutely. Okay, my brother. We're going to work on that. Steve, your last words so we get out of here?
Well, this reminds me of the COVID days. You had your essential and non-essential people. To me, it sounds like the essential people got their money and the non-essential are getting crapped on, you know?
Right.
And that's something we've got to start correcting ourselves and stuff. Is, you know, the biggest slap, the biggest disgrace that you could put upon a person is taking bread off their table.
Yes.
And if you can't pay them for a job that they did and got done, you're a disgrace. And these people need to be compensated for what they did, and it needs to be done ASAP.
Randy?
I just want to thank Omar for being with us today once again and shedding light into what's going on for these contractors that's out there suffering, and those who have suffered and lost everything. Thank you for that. And I want to thank the rest of the panel for a great discussion today. I truly appreciate it. And I look forward to catching you all next week or sooner.
Omar, I'm giving you your last words. Go ahead.
Well, thank you guys for shedding light into a dark area of our town. It's a sad day when the African Americans at the top of the chain and the African Americans that's brown trees at the bottom of that hill is not being fed and not being treated fairly. And I thank you guys for shining that pin light in this dark area.
Omar, we gonna get together because, like I said, I got some other shows I want to get you on, some major shows, because people across the world need to see, and we need to quit holding politicians up in the air, not just Barack Obama, but all of them that do not have the interests of the American people at hand. We need to get them out of office so that we can make this country great again. Guys, thank you, and we'll be talking soon. I'll call you, Omar, later. Thanks for coming. I'll see you soon. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in to the show, and I want to thank my guests for coming in. To the American people and patriots across this country, the 4th of July was a great event, and President Trump's speech was sincere and heartfelt. But we have to really take a look at how our country is moving forward, because it has been the Democratic Party who are fighting him like hell, who don't want him to make this country and put Americans first. 250 years, the American people who paid the taxes to build this country should come first. We should not see migrants. We should not see Haitians. We should not see Somalians. We should see no other people from other countries holding our country hostage and stealing money tooth and nail. Look at Minnesota. Look how the Somalis set up and stole millions and billions of dollars and yet made it seem like it's America's fault. Look at the Haitians. They came here, was only supposed to be here for 18 months, and yet they've been here 20 years and they're still not citizens. So why should the American taxpayers continue to foot the bill for other people who are here illegally and not American citizens? Our focus should be rebuilding the infrastructure of our cities. We should be looking for ways to make sure that our citizens who are living under the viaduct, who are living out of garbage cans, our children are living in old buildings. There's no economic development for the American people. So when I see President Trump talking about American people and taxpayers should be first, then the American people and patriots across this country should be standing with him, because he's trying to make the change, and the Democrats are doing nothing but complaining, lying, and stealing. When we see the direction that Trump is trying to take this country back to where it used to be, and we see the Democratic Party who are complaining but never came up with any ideas, nor are they bringing any solutions to the table to fix the country. And yet they want, especially Black Americans, to go to the polls and vote for the Democrats who are continuing to push homosexuality, the transgenders. They're pushing migrants in our country. They're bringing in child trafficking. They're doing all the bad things against this country. And I just feel right now, if the American people, especially Black Americans, don't wake up and go to the polls and we let the Democrats steal another election, this country is surely going to die. And I must say, in order for us to do what we need to do, we need to stand with President Trump. We need to make sure that we can make this country what it used to be, a powerhouse, a superpower, best in education, best in economics. We need to stand with this president before he's out of office to make this country great again. God bless you. See you guys.